Well, I knew I was going to be covering this topic at some point, so yeah, welcome to the Artstyles rant. And yeah, this is the first time I'm going to be talking about it, but it's definitely not going to be the last time. But first, let me reel it back a little and into a brief idea of where my thoughts stem from. The first time I properly got into making art was after discovering Vex on YouTube, and like many others inspired by him, I started doodling. Having grown up on art YouTube, I went through phases of inspiration here and there, and then I got into anime, which became my second big influence into pursuing art and animation more seriously. Now my inspiration stems from artists, designers from all over the spectrum, and I've slowly been developing habits and interpretations, ways of drawing certain things, and for a lack of a better term, I've been starting to develop a style. It has been one of my biggest questions growing up of how to get an art style, and over the years my idea of it has changed, and I assume it will change further down the line as well. So this is a video of me ranting about what I think about art styles right now as a beginner in the field with only a few years of work to my name. For the sake of not ending up going on 100 different tangents and making this video the least bit legible, I've divided these topics into 3 parts. 1. What is an art style and where does it come from? 2. Why I think it's being approached the wrong way. 3. Why I don't like getting into an art style. And then a little bit about my current conflict, which I won't spoil for now. Question 1. What is an art style? An art style is the way the artist chooses to communicate a certain thing through symbols to the viewer, a shorthand or their mode of communicating their idea. It is something that is, well, inevitable. Everyone falls into making certain shorthands and finding ways of depicting things that they find better more than others. Some draw each individual muscles, while some might just draw the outer form of it to demarcate musculature. It's all about the process of how you draw a certain thing, and from how I see it, it generally comes from, well, input. Finding media and styles that you like, ways of drawing that you like, and Frankensteining a mood board of different gears and parts and organs till you find what you like to draw and ways you want to draw certain things. How do you get to this point? How do I get an art style? Well, the short answer is you don't. It finds you. Damn. I'm actually on some Master Uwe level shit, like, bro. Anyways, let me explain. I feel like if your burning question is of how to get an art style, the first thing you need to do is let go of the desperation of getting there. Start by finding artists and artworks you like, and find what about it you like. Develop your taste and your niche by seeing what fits your ideas, your characters, and your story, or whatever your end goal with this is. The art style has a way of finding it when you understand the basics and fundamentals. So it's always recommended to get those done first. From my experience, it lets you understand exactly what is being shown and what is being implied and what's being omitted entirely, and lets you expand your visual library and understand what works and what doesn't in certain ways and forms. By the end of it, you start developing a way of drawing. It's not one way of drawing things, but a base, a seed from which your art style or styles or ways of interpreting things will slowly grow and flourish. But this is where I stand a bit conflicted at my point. I don't like having an art style. It feels too comfortable, and it feels like my limits of what and how I draw are just right there at the boundary box of how I shorthand certain things. And it might partially be because I might have rushed through the basics. My visual library pulls from the same shorthands and same elements, and after a certain sets of permutations and combinations, it starts feeling bland. And it feels like I'm making the same thing over and over again. Not to mention, it's not the most employable skill. In most fields, it's important to be able to adjust to styles according to a project, since you will be working in a team. And art styles that have been shoved into your head as the only way of drawing and the only mode of visual representation can make it very difficult to be able to adjust. And that's where it's important to keep revisiting fundamentals. And I know it's tough to have to go back to the basics after having made quite a lot of progress, but you can always take breaks. I find myself switching between the two every so often, and it always impacts me positively. Being able to understand how certain things work and expanding your understanding will only be a net positive, of course, both for your art style to evolve as well as your employability, which, at least for me, are the two main concerns that I need to balance if I want to be able to join the industry while being able to do my own stuff. So yeah, while I don't have nor a definitive answer nor a definitive proof or whether this works or not yet, this is the path I'm currently headed towards, and I'd love to see what you guys think about it in the comments as well. But if there's one thing I do know and think is correct, it's that an art style isn't an end goal. It's a means of communicating that evolves from your ideas and your thoughts. So never stagnate and keep improving. But yeah, that's all I've got for today, and well, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'd love to see what you guys think about art styles, and also if you have any topics you guys want me to cover in the future. So yeah, let me know. As always, like and subscribe to this channel. Drop a follow at dissect.art on Instagram if you want to see more drawings. They end up popping up way more often than these videos do. I've uploaded my first student short film recently actually. It's called Catch the Falling Star, and I'm pretty proud of it and how it turned out after just like 1 month of work. So if you'd like to see it, I'm gonna put a link to it right now or something. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye.